see this ad for everything's about some new drug that's going to help you out. And they always come with the disclaimers that feature hideous warnings while being mumbled, and they take up about half the ad about the side effects and the possible negative implications of taking this drug on a regular basis. Meanwhile, the woman is walking through a field of butterflies. She's blowing bubbles, walking a little puppy on a rope because she just took 2 pills and got over lifelong depression. Incredible. But the Jardiance ad, have you seen that? Jardiance, I believe it's a diabetes medication. And they got this big fat chick who gets off a train and immediately is leading 25 to 30 people in singing songs about how wonderful the effects are of Jardiance. And I'm thinking the last time I saw a drug like that was when we had Dennis Rodman doing shows at that Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar right on the beach here in Fort Lauderdale. And he was like gargling with Goldschlager. Yes, he was pretty much out of his mind the entire time. And one night he comes on our show, and I've never seen a guy happier in my life. And I thought, whatever drug this guy's on, I want some of that.
Yes.
I don't know that Jardiance gives you that kind of a feeling, but you would assume that it just was a key to happiness, that as soon as you started guzzling a bunch of Jardiance pills out of this bottle, that you were going to be happy and your diabetes was going to disappear, or it would get to the point where you just didn't fucking care about possible complications and the implications of having this hideous disease. Unbelievable, right? So we have to get rid of that.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
All right, very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, and the handsome one over there is one Mike Lubitz, who is just loving life. I mean, absolutely euphoric today as you sit here 4 hours and change, very small amount of change away from the opening of the NCAA Tournament. Nobody gives a fuck about college basketball all year long, and then everybody's a fan as of today, which it's okay with me. I don't know about you, Lubie. I stopped being one of those guys that goes on the air and a long, long time ago trying to tell fans how they should be fans. You know, who's big on that? The Big O was big on that. Orlando Alzagari. I always remember the various sportscasters that you've heard over periods of time that have been on sports talk radio. This is not something that you would find. Some play-by-play guy is not going to be screaming at you. You're not going to have Iron Eagle going, you know what? You guys aren't real fans. Because they don't give a shit. I mean, why do they care? They got the fans. Look, the crowd noise is a great stimulus if you're doing any form of play-by-play. Lubie, you know, when you're in front of an empty house, I did a lot of those Canes games, right? And all you heard through the entire broadcast, 9 innings, 4.5 hours of dreadful college baseball, was rag on. Because you could hear the two guys that were sitting a few seats away from the broadcast location that we were at, and we were just outside there, sitting on those cement steps. Did they change up the seating arrangements at Darklight Stadium?
I've never.
When A-Rod started pouring money in there, was A-Rod? Where was he having to lay that money off from? Was that some kind of money laundering thing? I don't want to accuse A-Rod of criminal activity. Why am I doing that? Seems like a perfect gentleman, doesn't he, A-Rod? We're still waiting for him, honestly. We're waiting for him to say something interesting to justify the absolute maniacal chase of A-Rod's talents by virtually every sports network. With, I mean, you know where he isn't bad is on Shark Tank, because he did make a lot of money on the side there. I mean, in addition to the $250 million that he got from the Yankees in that last contract, the guy was a fairly shrewd businessman. Hell, doesn't he own? Is he a majority owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves now?
I know.
And what's happened to Timberwolves since he's become the owner?
I know he became an owner with them, but what's interesting is he's on TikTok and he's in Minnesota. So, and you'll see him at Minnesota games.
Yes.
So you would think he's not just like a Dwayne Wade level of owner. Like, I think he has a huge stake, like Magic Johnson type shit, because if not majority, because he's highly involved there. Like, he's like Mr. Minnesota now. So
I want to say that, I mean, I don't know if he has a partner with him on this. There's some guy with the even big. How many guys have bigger bags of money than A-Rod does at this point? Right. And yeah, I mean, it's fairly incredible that the success that this guy's had is amazing. But the adjuration that network executives have for A-Rod, what is it? Is it he's got a good smile, Lubie, correct?
Yes.
I mean, Big Papi says nothing when he's on that show, the Fox pregame show. Fox especially loves to chase down these kind of guys, where they Big Papi was beloved by everybody. A-Rod was largely despised. Would you say that that's a fair statement?
Now, well, I guess so. Well, no, yeah. So from the Texas Rangers on, he was a fucking asshole.
Despised, yeah. Everybody knew he was a cheating motherfucker.
He took the money to
Yeah.
stay with a team that was losing. Then he went to the Yankees and had the weird shit with Jeter, and Jeter was the captain, my captain.
Jeter hated him, yeah.
And then he did the thing where he hit the glove versus the Red Sox.
Oh my God, what a pussy!
Then he did the roids. Said he didn't do the roids. Then got popped for the roids.
Yeah,
pulled a Trump talking about woman, what woman, with the roids. So yes, and so he was
he's got shit in his trunk. He owns his own, place where the people are lined up. I mean, everybody from A-Rod to Sid Fernandez were lined up outside
and the shit with his cousin, and that was fun. Yeah, so he's sort of a douche. So I guess he already owned a good percentage of the T-Wolves, and him and this guy Lore bought them outright for $1.5 billion. And I guess that $1.5 billion was more him than the guy Lore, because it says he personally owns like 80% of the T-Wolves. So I think
it's not like nobody knows this, but it's sort of on the QT, is it not? That A-Rod is a major owner of a basketball team that's having a phenomenal season.
So I guess it's both him, he and Lore together, which I don't know if put him more, but he and Lore together put in $1.5 billion. They formerly owned 40%. They now own 80% of the T-Wolves. And it is weird that they went from being to being great under Alex Rodriguez's ownership.
What else is different? I ask you.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's so
They had all of those guys there, pretty much. What did they do? Did they trade for Rudy Gobert this year? Was that? That
was like 2 years
they don't
ago.
Have. 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. That was what set in place all these ridiculous trades, because he was a defensive stopper who was horrendous on offense, and they got like 80 picks for him. So now every star that wants to go somewhere, the team expects to get a whole team back.
Yeah. It's amazing, yeah. No, in the NBA, and then you look at this deal that we were talking about briefly yesterday with Justin Fields, and you're asking yourself, what the fuck is that? I have no luck in that sort of thing. I have the worst timing when it comes to business and any type of monetary transactions. I remember Steve Goldstein every day used to come into the studio and say, "Hey, look at that! I made another $20,000 today in the stock market." Everybody was making money. Remember, this was I guess what?
Probably before me.
Yeah, this was probably 2000-ish, somewhere in there. I don't know, maybe even a little bit before that. Stock market was flying. Andy would know the answer to this, and then all of a sudden, everybody got crushed like a grape. So I got in at the last minute. I put $100,000 in the pocket of a money manager that I had known through the radio business, the lovely Meg Green, right? So she puts it into spreads it out in some kind of portfolio. I had $100,000. Boom. The next month I get my statement. I have 108,000. I'm thinking, wow, look at this, man. I made $8,000 in a month doing nothing.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
The next month I get my statement. I have 96,000, and there are red flags everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere that this is going to be a trend that not only continues, but it may plummet and collapse as soon as noon today.
Oh, Jesus.
So fortunately, I told Meg Green at the time, I said, cash me out. I don't care. I'll lose the 4 dimes. I'd rather do that than lose it all.
Yep.
And then people got annihilated. I don't know. Did that bounce back to the point where if you had just stayed with it, you would have been okay?
That's the idea, is if you stayed with it, you'd be, what do you mean?
You would have been down to nothing, though. It would have been Sam Bankman-Fried time. I mean, what do you mean this is worthless?
I'm weird with that. I don't do a lot with stocks. Whatever I have in stocks, I just leave it. I don't touch it. I barely look at it, and cross my fingers that eventually it soars. But yeah,
I've had zero luck in that. 0.0.
You're supposed to leave it. Look, unless you're like an indie guy where you're buying and selling daily, then you ride waves, and that's fine. But like our buddy the professor, usually leaves stuff in long haul, and he'll move it around a lot when he's seeing movement, but a lot of the time you put stuff in and just write it out. I mean, that's sort of what you're supposed to do.
All right, makes sense. In this case, I was glad I didn't write it out, because I wouldn't have wanted the agony of defeat that comes with seeing your 100,000 become 8,000 in a matter of 3 or 4 months. That would have been some serious ugliness. Then, of course, I remember 2008. My dad, his words still ring in my ears as the housing market was in complete. I mean, just spiraling into an abyss. And he says to me, "The good news, son, is you own 3 houses, and the bad news, son, is you own 3 houses." I had just bought into this shit, right? I flipped a house right away, Luby. The first thing I did, I own a house, a little condo for like maybe 2 months. I made 20 grand on that thing. I thought this is wonderful. Everybody was doing it. Everybody was buying and flipping houses and
Yep, yep, and
buying
then
pre-construction, and
success.
they were
Yep,
making a fortune on it. They were selling the rights to the pre-construction
yep.
before the building was even built.
Yeah, it's what's happened. What happened 2 years ago? Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
So I get in at the last second, get crushed like a grape. I mean,
It's the worst.
and that's the way it is. So I'm familiar with this, but the Chicago Bears moves that would be very similar to my financial track record by having Justin Fields on their roster. Now, at that point, I saw Mel Kiper screaming about this. Wouldn't you have just kept him at that point?
It's what I thought. The professor, who's not a fan of Justin Fields and thinks he sucks. I don't. I think he's a work in progress.
You don't know which way it's going to go.
If I'm the Bears, would have gotten rid of him. I'm not against
Yeah.
that. If I'm the Bears, would go and get Williams because again, like we've talked about, if you don't know who he is by now, then to put that money into him stupid. So you might as well start over because nowadays you can only pay the guys that you know can win with less talent. That's really what it is. They take up so much of your cap that you can't pay a quarterback who's not worth it. Look at the Giants. Okay, so that's why the Dolphins have dragged their feet. Even though Tua has actually shown it to me that he's worth it, he still isn't one of the top 5 quarterbacks. So you are taking a major risk.
I would say it's somewhat questionable with Tua, whether you want to put $45 million a year into him.
For me, it's fine. He's not Fields. He's had enough success, and then this year he stayed healthy that he proved it to me. But that's fine. He at least isn't. He's not Burrow. He's not Mahomes. Okay, cool. He hasn't won a playoff game yet. Fine. Fields has major question marks, so you might as well start over because then you get 5 years of control of a quarterback, and you get time to build around them with them not owning your cap. Cool, but the problem is there is a group in Chicago that love Fields. Like that, I don't know. I don't understand that, but there are people that love Fields. So the idea, I guess, is if he's there, Williams will struggle. I mean, he's going to be a fucking rookie on the Bears, so he's going to struggle. That group's going to get louder and louder for Fields. So if he's sitting there, it could slow down the growth.
It could be disruptive, yeah, for sure.
So in the Bears' minds, it's like, let's just get what we can before we really give ourselves a headache. To me, I don't give a shit. Like, competition is what breeds greatness, especially in sports. If that rattles Williams, then you know you have a fucking weak-minded quarterback, and good luck. Like, the weak-minded quarterbacks don't win. So to me, I don't give a shit if it's going to slow him down. You have a quarterback that you just spent a first-round pick on 2 fucking years ago. Like, there's no way I'm trading, even if he sucks, even if he's Zach Wilson. Like, Justin Fields has been better than Zach Wilson. Justin Fields isn't a total disaster. I'm not trading him for a 6th-round pick. I don't care. Like, I'm not trading for a 6th-round pick. If it screws with Williams, it screws with Williams. Like, grow a pair.
A 6th-round pick, yeah. I mean, essentially, you gave him away.
You did. No, you did.
Literally gave him away. Now, supposedly, there were stories that he had blocked trades to other teams that might have been willing to offer more. Now, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're aware of that, you're offering nothing, right? You're saying you'll get nothing and like it.
And that's what happened. The teams knew that they got desperate because he's worth more. Look, you can hate him, and you can talk with Ken tomorrow about this. He thinks he sucks.
Yeah.
He doesn't suck.
I know he hadn't established that he's going to be brilliant, but
exactly,
he showed some flashes of being a guy that you might be able to ride. In the same way, the kid in Green Bay kind of came around.
That's fine. Start over.
Jordan Love, yeah.
I agree with all of that. But I'm also not giving him up for a 6th-round pick. I'm just, this isn't Zach Wilson where you've now watched him just suck. Like, he didn't, look, he starts slow every year and finishes strong. He's not your quarterback, fine. You can keep him on the roster. You can use him as a backup. And if it gets in Williams' head, then Williams may not be the guy either. Like,
yeah. You think Marino was worried? Who was the starter here? Woodley? I mean, who did
Marino won. Woodstock won. They got to a fucking Super Bowl, and Marino's like, fuck those guys.
But I can't imagine a swaggering Dan Marino coming into his first practice thinking, geez, I don't know. I'll never be able to beat this guy out. Right. So if you're, Caleb Williams, you would have to think that he had that level of confidence. I would think, all of these guys are suspect, as we know. So there's no guarantee any of it's going to work out. We saw that last year. I mean, I'm not sure that it's fair to judge Bryce Young off of last season. But what you saw wasn't exactly making you think, oh, my God, this guy is an offensive line away from being brilliant. I'm not sure that I buy that either. All right, a lot of stuff happening. We're going to have the trivia challenge. All you trivia players, get ready. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. We do have Dave Gurggles Gergely joining us here, and there he is somewhere. Hey, El Gurgolito, how are you, my friend?
Morning, gentlemen. Doing fine.
Morning,
Doing
Mr.
fine.
Bruce.
Ready for another busy day here at the golf course. And
I would imagine. Wow. I mean, could you get any nicer weather to play golf in than we've had recently?
we've been blessed. We had Somerset Academy here Tuesday. On Monday, I'll be at the home of the Caddyshack movie, Grand Oaks, raising some money for autism, and a little Beat the Broadcaster. And then
Very nice.
Coming up in another week, I'll be with Doc Reno at actually the Broadcasters Tournament.
Oh, fantastic. That's absolutely great. Yeah, Doc Reno, one of the greats of all time. And I think that thing might be in its third year and is just growing like a weed. It's incredible. So did you play in that before?
No, I'm
Representing
going to
the
be actually raising
trivia
money
challenge?
there doing Beat the Broadcaster, ironically. But I remember when you and Doc used to do Sunday mornings before football, right?
With Lubie, yes. That's where Lubie's star rose from a total lack of consideration by upper-level management to the point where they were saying, why is this guy on the show? No, they loved him. He became a star. He got the stamp of approval from virtually everybody.
They left me alone.
All right, let's do this. Let's get. You want to get right into the game here, Gurgs?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, we'll do that. So here we go. We have to dedicate this game once again to our esteemed colleague of many, many years, the Polyman Paul Massell. By the way, Eric Brandon has gained just exponentially on us in terms of, and we always boasted the claim, and it was true, that I think we had the second longest running weekend show in the history of South Florida radio, which we hit what? Did we hit 25 years on that?
I think we did, yeah.
25 years. And who was it, the lady that was making the matzo balls? That was on...
Mama Goldberg.
She was on 790 when it was a barter station and had bought her way to fame. Mama Goldberg's matzo ball recipes were I think she did like 30 years. She was kind of like the Joe Franklin of South Florida radio. Where you're thinking, really? That's the longest running show? The guy sucked. Anyway, yeah, so longevity. But Brandon is catching us. He went from like 15 years. He's now at 27 years straight on the air. I think we've been gone for like 3.
Well, he can catch us, but he can't catch fish. I know that.
No, I think he's pretty good, Eric Brandon. He's one of those master fishermen. All right, let's get into it. We'll dedicate the game to Eric Brandon, who used to precede us when we did the trivia challenge on the air from Hialeah Park and other locations. Of course, JM Lexus, one of the favorite ones. And what was the motorcycle place where the Polyman nearly got killed?
Oh, yeah, Ross something. I forget.
Oh, Rossmeyer. Bruce Rossmeyer.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll do the first half, you do the last. That's it.
Remember that? Yeah, that guy. I mean, he was like the right-hand man for Rossmeyer, and he literally looked like he just came out of a Gangland magazine. And he saw the Polyman like brush against one of the motorcycles. We were squeezed in, immersed in like about 20 different motorcycles that were in a space that probably should have contained 10. And I think Polyman might have brushed against one, and the guy looked at him like, if Polyman didn't pay for it right there on the spot, which was unlikely, that he was going to kick his ass and throw him off the balcony of the second story there of Bruce Rossmeyer's Harley Davidson place.
And I heard from Paulie yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently, Ohtani called him and wanted to know how he could eliminate his bookmaker, like Paulie did with Vito.
We've learned some Japanese today, Dave Gurggles Gergely. You'll appreciate this. Anada wakuso. Do I need to say that with a little more emphasis? Anada wakuso. It means you're fucked in Japanese.
Ah.
Yeah, which is what Ohtani found out today as he was getting ready to line up for the Dodgers in South Korea. I guess this guy, his name was Ipe Mizuhawa, which means filthy crook. And what I love, though, is he lost $5 million betting on soccer and other bizarre things. Football, I think, was part of it also. betting NHL parlays. I mean, how did he? 5 million he ends up losing, and you always get caught because somebody else is being investigated for something you had nothing to do with. And so the cops, I guess, or the FBI was onto this bookmaking ring in California, and what do they find out? Hey, look who sent in the last 5 million to these guys. Shohei Ohtani.
Oh no.
Did that come with an autographed baseball?
Exactly.
All right, we appreciate those who have fleeced others, and we'll dedicate the game also to this guy, Ipe Mizuhawa Anada Wakuso. That's what I have to say to him. All right, here we go. First set of questions, 954-417-0070. Dave Gurggles Gergely with the game starting in the traditional fashion and some.
Easy baseball. This player, while crossing into the Canadian border to play against the Expos, when asked by the guard at the Border Patrol, said if he had anything to declare, he said, "Sure, I'm proud to be an American." What's that? Steve Foster, Barry Foster, Foster Brooks, or Mel Brooks?
Lubie's going to roll the random phone scrambler. Select our first player. Now, look at that. Another fabled longtime champion. Ron, you're up first on the trivia challenge. Hello, Ron.
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
Right on the money. Way to start the game.
Good boy, Ron.
Yeah.
All right, Ron. Hoops, true or false? The term March Madness was first used by broadcaster Billy Packer in 1982 on the air. True or false?
True.
I'm going to say true. No?
It was Brent Musburger who coined the term.
Musburger. Oh, it was a trick question. Yeah. Musburger came up with that?
Yep.
Pretty clever, man. Did he trademark it like Pat Riley did with the three-peat?
No, somebody came up with it in 1939, a writer, but he first used it on the air in 82.
All right. Yeah, you had me there, Gurggles. One going for 4, Ron.
All right, baseball, Ron. Name the pitcher who holds the major league record for most career regular season wins without ever having a regular season at bat. Is that Jack Morris, Ron Guidry, Jim Palmer, or Jim Cott?
I know that one. I think Lubie does too.
Ron Guidry.
Guidry, yeah. You asked that
That's
one last
correct.
week, Gurggles.
Nice.
Well, I just wanted to see if you remember.
That was like one of those things where you have to listen to the show, and then the next day they're going to ask you a question about what happened on yesterday's show.
Okay.
All right, very good. You have 4 points going for 9. Game under protest.
Send me the check later, Ron.
Yeah.
Okay. This day in 1959, in the men's championship NCAA basketball, West Virginia's Jerry West won the MVP despite his team losing 71-70 to
Ooh. That's a new question.
UCLA,
Yeah.
Kentucky, Cal, or Oregon.
What are the teams again?
Sure. It was UCLA, Kentucky, Cal, or Oregon.
Let's go. Let's go Oregon.
I would have said that too, but we both were wrong. It was Cal. Cal beat him 71-70.
Tough one there, for sure. All right, Ron ends up with 4 points. Not too shabby. And you can dial us up if you want to play, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. Well, when Gurggles is relaxing, and one of my favorite things in the entire time that we've been doing these video streaming shows is the picture of Gurgs with the cigar in the Maldives, the Perdomo cigar.
What a trip.
It is the epitome of relaxation.
Yeah,
and
there
that's
it
what
is.
Perdomos are all about.
Behind me is the Indian Ocean. We had an infinity pool. Very nice little operation there. It took me 25 years to get there, but it was worth it for a Perdomo cigar. You don't need 25 hours. You don't need 25 hours to get to Perdomo Cigars. They're located at 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the Palmetto, a little bit east of the Home Depot on the south side of the street. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go in there, see Nuvia, the new receptionist. She'll guide you into the big humidor there. Nick Jr. It's a family affair, and they make perfect cigars one at a time. 305-627-6700, the number to call. This weekend, it sounds like it's going to be a little rainy weekend, Friday and Saturday. Get a nice little cigar for your Florida room outside, or Sunday when it clears up and you're going out on the boat, have a Perdomo cigar. And don't forget Father's Day, right around the corner, Perdomo Cigars. So if you want one on the weekend, of course they're not open, go online, www.perdomocigar.com. to find the retailer near you that sells these great cigars. So as you're enjoying March Madness and all the upsets, watch for some of those 13s eliminating the 4s. Is that correct? Put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
All right, very good. Let's run for a break. We'll come back. We'll play some more of the Trivia Challenge today with Dave Gurggles Gergely as the Master of Ceremonies. Still, it was always questionable whether or not they should have offered Gurggles immediately the job hosting Jeopardy. Or The Price is Right would have been you.
That was it.
Drew Carey. Right. I mean, come on. This guy, he couldn't hold a candle to you. I mean,
Drew Carey, he's lousy, yeah. But
yeah.
Ken Jennings,
nothing special. Is he the most overrated talent in all of entertainment? Drew Carey, is it possible, or is it Kevin Hart?
Maybe. He was funny when he broke in on the Tonight Show 100 years ago. But, right now, no.
I can't remember anything of any great distinction he's done, although he seems like a decent guy.
He is.
All right, we'll come back with more of the Trivia Challenge. 954-417-0070. Back with that in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:28. In style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubber's Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. We're playing a trivia challenge here. Dave Gurggles Gergely, of course, hosting there. I was blanking for a second on Alex Trebek, man. Trebek, legendary, with Jeopardy for so many years. Just unbelievable job. And, Price is Right was always one of my favorites. Let's Make a Deal back in the day.
Yes.
That was the show. I mean,
with Monty Hall.
Monty Hall, he was great, but they cheapened up the prizes. Where like almost everything is a zonk on that show now. I was watching it briefly the other day, and who's the guy now that's hosting the show?
Wayne Brady. Wayne Brady.
Okay, he's on everything too.
Yes.
He's on everything. He's one of those guys now, like Strahan, that there aren't enough hosts to go around. I'm surprised there isn't a spot for you, Gurggles, but what would have been well-deserved. You would have been a master on any kind of quiz show. All right, 954-417-0070. We had Ron start us out with a 4 spot, and wide open to get to the finals, obviously, since we've only played one guy. So let's get right back into the game here. And here's Dave Gurggles Gergely, our next set of questions.
Boxing. This fight manager, on learning that Mike Tyson, after some jail time, had re-signed with Don King, said, why would anyone expect him to come out smarter? He went to prison for 3 years, not Princeton. Lou Duva, Lou Pinella, Lou Costello, or Larry Costello?
One of the great quipsters, either by design or not. in sports history. The great Lou Duva, the late Lou Duva, and the Chronic is up next here on the show. Chronic, how are you?
Pretty good, fellas. That'll be A. Happy March Madness.
There you go.
Yes, sir, Lenny.
Where are you? Are you in a health facility? Are you home? Where are you, Lenny? Rourke?
I'm working.
All right, very good.
No more hospitals today, buddy.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm staying out. That's it. That was my last dealing with any kind of doctor. I'll just go to my grave without seeing another doctor. You have 1 point, Lenny. You're in the game.
Hockey. After Cindy Crawford at a Blackhawks game made a 80-foot slap shot goal through a 16-inch wide target to win a prize for a fan, the Rangers, not to be outdone, had Christy Brinkley try the same thing, and after 6 shots, she failed to even hit the net. True or false?
I'll say that is false.
That is false. That's false. That's false. Made it up. That's false.
Sound a little far-fetched, yeah. Okay, yeah. So Lenny comes through with a true-false question. That's always a dangerous position for us because could lead to a sweep. So here we go with the 3-point question for 5.
All right, baseball, Lenny. Who hit the first ever home run for the Tampa Bay then Devil Rays on opening day, March 31st, 1998?
Orestes Destrade.
Vinny Castillo, Fred McGriff, Greg Vaughn, or Wade Boggs?
The answer to all those questions is Orestes Destrade, isn't it?
I think it was Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs. Yes.
You're right.
Nice. Oh,
Wow.
John. That's annoying.
All right, Lenny sitting on 5 now. That true false is always the trap door for Lenny in terms of potential sweeps. Here we go.
I actually met Orestes Destrade. He came in the gym at Miami Lakes Athletic Club when the Yankees were spring training and played basketball with him. He was what a super nice guy.
He really is. He's a great guy. I met him when he first started playing for the Marlins in, what was that, 93?
Yeah.
And we were doing a bunch of shows, radio shows from spring training there in Melbourne. And Destrade came on the show, and he couldn't have been any more engaging. He was absolutely fantastic. If he didn't have that warning track power, especially in clutch situations, and an unfortunate penchant for striking out with the bases loaded, would have been a great Marlin.
All right, Lenny.
Certainly wasn't Sadaharu Ode, that's for sure, when he came over here from that Japanese career that he had going. All right, Lenny, here's your 5-point question going for the sweep.
All right, let's take you back in history. This time it's NBA history. This date in history, in 1959, the two teams committed 106 fouls and had 12 players foul out. And one of the teams was the Syracuse Nationals. Who was their opponent that day?
All right.
Was it the Warriors, the Knicks, the Celtics, or St. Louis?
A bloodbath, if we can use that word.
Say that again?
The teams? They were the Warriors, the Knicks, the Celtics, or St. Louis.
Okay, St. Louis.
St. Louis.
No,
Incorrect.
It was the Boston Celtics. 12 players fouled out of that game.
That was a pretty tough one, Gurggles. I mean, yeah. All right, degree of difficulty was high there. Chronic, though, still tallies 5. He's in the lead. Ron in second place with 4. You can jump on board at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. I would imagine back in the day when you were the master of ceremonies at Schuler's Steak 2, Gurggles, did you not have some kind of big competition for March Madness? Some kind of live action going there? What was that all about?
We gave out the brackets, and we gave 1 point for every team you picked correctly times the seed number of that team.
Okay.
So a little bit different.
Yeah.
We had a whole bunch of entries for that. That was second only to our NFL draft contest where we packed the place for 6 hours.
No, you did a great job, man. Because the
Those were
Polyman,
fun days, yeah. Paulie used to show up there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he, you know, you two guys would be 1 and 1A in terms of running live competitions like that, especially with the Sporting Connection. Polyman, always brilliant, but he had tremendous admiration for the way that you conducted those contests.
And he does a great job down at Magic City too.
Oh yeah, no, still going strong. The Polyman. Did he mention anything about any baseball pools coming up when you talked to him yesterday?
I don't know. Does he have?
It truly was. I mean, getting paid or not, that still was, and I did get my compensation for that. But the pool itself was probably the most interesting pool I've ever been a part of in any sport. I mean, that pool where you had to pick a team to go 500 or better every week.
Yep.
And you couldn't use it was a elimination pool. You couldn't use the same team again during the season, and it was a strategic masterpiece. I mean, you had to be Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky combined to work your way through that thing, and it made for. I mean, I'm watching on my computer games in progress. Not being able to actually see the game, just tracking pitch by pitch at 2 a.m. because you're at the end of the season and trying to hang in there. It was great. All right, 954-417-0070. If you'd like to play the game, we're ready for our next set of questions. Here is, once again, the Alex Trebek. And Andy says Trebek was not the original host.
No, Art Fleming.
Art Fleming was. Okay.
He was the first person in the Trivia Hall of Fame, too, Art Fleming. Yep.
Fleming was great. No, he was a brilliant host. So here's Dave Gurggles Gergely, who would have been Trebek if Trebek hadn't come along and got the audition and got the job.
All right, NBA. This player on a dream matchup said, when Xavier McDaniel plays against Orlando Woolridge, it's a coach's dream. X versus O. Who's that? Michael Thompson, John Thompson, Bobby Thompson, or Bobby from the racetrack?
Pretty clever deduction there. Oh, look at this. All right. I guess we always have to preface this with our contestants here. Andy, are you currently residing in a medical facility?
No, a mental institution.
Join the crowd.
You can see the group in therapy, all listening to a little or watching on their computer here as Gurggles conducts a trivia challenge. Glad you're okay, and you have 1 point. You're in the game.
All right, a reporter covering March Madness decided to interview every coach in March Madness this year and find out who their favorite musical artist was. When it came to University of Kentucky and he talked to 55-year-old John Calipari, he said Drake. True or false?
That's such a I'll go with false.
I'm going to say true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Calipari's a scumbag.
He wanted to relate to his kids, he said.
Exactly.
So
He pulled out some fucking guy that he's heard of that kids would like.
Can you imagine he's riding to work
There's no
in
way
his car and he's got some Drake on?
No way.
Drake's Pandora channel.
when I think of Drake, I think of like ring dings or yodels.
Exactly. That's what said. Yep.
Devil Dogs.
Can you name a Drake song? Can you name a Drake song?
I don't know. Has he ever actually made any music, Drake?
Yes, he's made lots.
Or is he just like become an asshole at Toronto Raptor games?
No, he's made a lot. To this day, he still makes lots of music. He's just sort of changed his style. But yes,
all right. I was country music guy now.
I presume John Calipari's not.
Lubie, by the way, are you going to the Ultra concert, Lubie? Isn't that an annual trek for you and the lovely Shirley?
Right. No, my buddies now is Sirius, so it actually is just as good a connection as I heard. But Ultra over the years has gotten really like Pantherish, where they don't, even the people that they're connected with, they don't hook it up. And I'm not. It's like $400. I'm not spending that.
$500 to listen to that?
Because it's 3 days and it's all day.
I could see Gurggles up there by the stage.
Yeah, I don't think Gurggles at Ultra.
The Ultra music?
I barely get to Ultra anymore.
I was going to go, but 500 just didn't happen to have the money
PBS.
At the time.
I'd be on PBS raising money, singing "Standing on the Corner."
All right, where are we at with Andy? Through the true-false question?
The 3-point question.
3-point question. All right, and you have 1 point, Andy, going for 4.
All right, Andy, March Madness. Who was the first team with 20 Final Four appearances?
All right.
UCLA, Kentucky, North Carolina, or Duke?
Wow.
Go with UCLA.
I want to say Kentucky. No?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. All right. With that 4 corners. My God. We were talking about that the other day. What a hideous strategy. Unreal. All right. Going for 6 here, Andy. This will put you on top of the field.
Okay, wait. I got over 20 in this San Diego Dodger game. I need this guy to score here. Otani's got the over too. Me and Otani got the over here.
Me and Otani.
All right, Andy.
Did at any time you see Otani and read his lips where he was saying Anana Wakuso? Nanawakuso. You have to say that. I mean, Gurggles, you could say that with a certain amount of anger after a favorite was put up.
Nanawakuso.
I just love Andy's right. Andy said it in the chat. I love that the guy used Otani's name.
Yes.
Like, he didn't even change the fucking name.
Obviously, he needed an interpreter on the ethics of degeneracy. Yeah.
Wire the money from the guy's account. Like, why don't you pay them one in cash? Maybe.
You imagine the alarm that was created in the Dodger offices. They must have shit their pants when they saw this and said, Otani bet $5 million with some illegal bookmaking ring, and we just signed them for $700 million. What the fuck?
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
It's why I left law. I paid my bookie through my escrow account.
This will be the
Oh my God. Does a polyman speak Japanese? Maybe. All right, 5-point question coming up here. This is to decide a lot of things.
The lead.
There we go. Baseball, Andy. In 1978, 2 major league players set a record, each hitting 2 pinch hit grand slams. Davey Johnson and Cliff Johnson, Mike Ivey, Gates Brown, or Del Unser.
Wow.
It was Cliff Johnson.
Cliff, no.
It was Mike Ivey of all people.
Oh, man.
Mike Ivey.
Did you say Gates Brown was one of them?
Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you tonight.
All right, thanks, Andy. Please, appreciate you calling in here on the show. You want to do one more before we go to the finals?
Let me see if we can grab one more.
See if we can grab one more. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. If you'd like to play the game, wide open to get to the finals here. The Chronic with 5 in the lead, and Ron opened up with a 4 spot, so you don't need to do too much here. A couple of questions, and bingo, you're in line for that Landlubber's gift certificate, where Lubie will be tonight with the professor with the live version of a live version. This isn't the trivia challenge. This is their own unique enterprise, which has blossomed and mushroomed into being, evolved into being one of the most respected trivia live appearances and performances that you will see anywhere. I think Lubie could trademark this thing and be all over the country with it. Be great.
Really, really well done. He and the professor do a terrific job.
Tremendous,
the combination of the music and the questions, wow. Really, really good. And even if you didn't want to play, the food there is worth the trip alone.
Yes, with all of these specials, I mean, people are screaming and they're going crazy, saying, "Oh my God, you can't go out to eat anymore." Landlubbers defies that.
Plus, we'll have all the games on too while you're there.
Yes, Sufrene's a lunatic. So literally, they have over 50 televisions. That's not a joke. Like everywhere you sit, you can see 4 TVs at least.
Sarney could enjoy himself there because he'll have the women's NIT game on somewhere. All 12 of them or whatever else is going in terms of women's NIT activity tonight. We love you, Jim, and hope you're okay.
I love you, Sarney.
I'm beginning to think that Jim enjoys being in the hospital. Is that possible?
He does. He somehow finds the nurses that are attractive.
The orgies with the nurses. I didn't see, I mean, the nurses were all very nice when I was in there, but I didn't see any compelling reason to sit there and go, well, I'd like to stay another day. Will Emily be working tomorrow? Oh, good. I really look forward to her drawing blood. All right, let's do another one here, and then we'll go to the finals, Gurgs. So here we go. Our last set of questions here on the show.
Football. This kicker, on the career he had chosen, said, old place kickers never die. They just go on missing the point. Lou Groza, Julius LaRosa, Julius Boros, or Boros Badenoff?
How about the toe coming up with that one? That's a great one. All right, here's a scrambler, and it lands on our good friend Pat. Featured in many feature films of great distinction and all kinds of other things. Pat, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, guys. Hey?
Good morning.
A is correct. Very good, sir.
Pat doesn't like to blow his own horn, but I heard he got a part in an upcoming adult film entitled She Died With Her Boots On and Not Much Else.
God, good for him.
Body double for John Holmes, I believe, was the way it was described, his role in this movie. All right, 1 point going for 2 here, Pat.
Horse racing, Pat, true or false? The late jockey Willie Shoemaker got his nickname not because his last name is not because his last name is Shoemaker, because as a baby, his mother put him in a shoebox and then the oven to keep him alive. True or false?
Oh, man. I'll say false.
That's very much true.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Yeah,
Sure.
like an incubator. Yep.
By the way, we do have to pay tribute, and I got to know this guy, and I had seen him riding many years when he was the king of Monmouth Park and the Jersey circuit, Walter Blum. And I got to know him when he was a steward very early on in my tenure here in South Florida, so over 40 years ago. Walter Blum, and he was always a very decent guy with me, and I would imagine well respected by everybody. Checked out the other day. I believe he was 89 years old.
Wow.
But he was a Jersey riding legend.
Yeah, we had him on our show.
Yeah.
And he told us how he won the Belmont with Pass Catcher.
Yes.
I remember he came on our show. He was
That's
wonderful.
right. That's right. Because he was a state steward there in Hialeah, and when we were doing a show in Hialeah, he came down, was a special guest. Always great. I always was tempted when I would pick up the newspaper, Newsday in New York, and look at the entries, and then I was thinking, no, geez, Belmont is closed today, so am I going to ride on a Monday over to Monmouth Park, which was a pretty good schlep from where I live.
Yeah,
and watch Walter Blum win like 4 out of the 9 races on the card that day. He was great. So, I wanted to salute the memory and the life of the great Walter Blum. All right, where are we at with Pat now?
We're on a 3-point question.
3-point question.
He only has one right now.
Yeah.
All right, Pat. Let's go to March Madness. Which conference was the first to have 3 teams in the Final Four? Is that the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big East, or the Pac-10?
The Big East.
That's what I would have said. Big East is correct. Nice.
St. John's, Villanova, and Georgetown. Probably 85, maybe.
Where was the Cuse that year? They didn't make it? All right. Pat, you are
tied for second.
Tied for second and going for the lead here outright.
This will take over, yeah.
All right, Pat. March Madness again, but this time on what they call the distaff side. We want to know, in what city will the women's Final Four take place this year? Baltimore, Cleveland, Kansas City, or Memphis?
Memphis.
I'm going to say Memphis too. No?
No. Cleveland. It's in Cleveland.
Cleveland! Unbelievable. All right. Pat ends up with 4.
Hang on, Pat. You probably are in the finals.
He's in a dead heat with Ron. It's possible that we can't find Ron, though. But nonetheless, you want to spin the scrambler, make it official here? Sure. All right, spin that scrambler, see what happens. What do you think it's going to land on, Gurggles? Oh, look at that, man. We can see it from here. Landed on Pat.
The only thing is, Pat is a part of the Chronics, too.
Yeah.
But he's not in every week a part of the Chronics, so I don't hold him to the same standard I hold Ron.
Ron, yeah. Ron won't mind deferring to Pat here. They're all good friends.
Pat, shockingly, is in the finals.
Wow. Nice draw there, Pat. That was like when Qatar got the World Cup, isn't it? Where it was this big mystery, and then Sepp Blatter had the 2 suitcases full of cash that he had been passed under the table, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Qatar. And the Chronic is going to be the opposition here. Perdomo Cigars, one more time. Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Yeah, 305-627-6700, the number to call. 5150 Northwest 167th Street, the place to go. Look at that. A nice cold beer and a Perdomo cigar, or a Macallan whiskey in one. That's whatever your choice might be. They make them perfect one at a time. Connecticut Rappers, Maduro Rappers, come to play golf here at Miami Lakes Golf Club. What do we have in our pro shop? And on the beverage cart, Perdomo Cigars. So today, tomorrow, whenever you want to celebrate with a great cigar, put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
All right, there may be some bonus coverage involved here on the program. It's possible. I'm going to say somewhat likely, Lubie.
I think it's happening, yeah.
That Brandon Lang is going to join us with his expertise. Now, he is a college
beautiful.
basketball madman. And, I mean, really knows his stuff. So we'll have some choices for you for the NCAA tournament through the eyes. I mean, you would have to say rather unique vision of Brandon Lang, who, of course, they based the movie Two for the Money on, and is a wild man of sorts, you would have to say.
All right, speaking of March Madness, here's the games you can follow, part of my 4-team parlay today.
Okay.
South Carolina, -1.5 against Oregon. Kentucky, -13.5 versus Oakland. FAU, -2.5 with Northwestern. And finally, Auburn, -12.5 against Yale. So I picked the favorites today for some reason, but
very unusual
$20
on your
If you
part.
parlay it,
win
you'll get around.
270.
Dave Gurggles Gergely, all chalk 14 parlay.
Yeah, $20
Very
to win
unusual.
270. It's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all chalk, but it's a parlay. It's a 14 parlay.
Why not?
Help, nurse.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like he's a chalk-eating pig.
We ready?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. My son has a friend who bets like 20-team parlays, and he hits every now and then. And so, I mean, like bizarre props all over the place. This guy to get 32 yards, this guy to do this, over-unders. And so he ends up hitting one and wins 50 grand.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
goodness.
On a 20-team parlay on some minor bet, like a $10 bet.
Wow.
He puts it all into Bitcoin, and he now has $300,000.
Nice.
Wow.
Run. Good for him.
So I hope he cashes out. I don't know. I mean, can you cash out on Bitcoin, or do you?
I don't know.
If you're smart, you do, because it just hit a thing, so it's going to tumble again. That's what it
Yeah.
does.
It would have to go back down, right? So
Yeah, it will.
Anyway, yeah. So there is some merit to this. I mean, people would say, "What chance do you have?" Like slim and none. But this guy's done it a couple of times. Unbelievable.
Good for him.
Cracked it. Yeah, very nice. He's planning an early retirement. All right, here we go for the championship. We have Pat. We have the Chronic. You guys know the rules. We're obligated to give them anyway. And that is that Dave's going to fire off a question. Call out your name if you want to answer. If nobody answers right away, we offer multiple choice. The first person to call out his name gets first choice. We go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we have a winner. And so here for the championship of today's game is Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Good luck, guys. Let's take you back to 1973, the Academy Award-winning movie The Sting. In the movie The Sting, when Lanigan loses his final bet as his horse Lucky Dan runs second, remember the guy told him, I said, place Lucky Dan.
Yeah.
At what track was that fictional race run?
Okay. Anybody? There's multiple choice.
A, River Downs, B, Riverside Downs, C, Ocean Downs, or D, Oceanside Downs?
Wow.
Lenny.
Yes, Lenny.
Lenny,
yes.
what was it?
I'm gonna go River Downs.
River Downs, an actual track.
No,
Incorrect.
Went first for once. You got it wrong.
All right, here we go.
Pat, was it Riverside Downs, Ocean Downs, or Oceanside Downs?
Oceanside down.
Oceanside, as in Long Island. No.
I had 2 left.
All right, 2 left for the Chronic.
Lenny, was it Riverside Downs or was it Ocean Downs?
Riverside.
Riverside.
Riverside Downs, the fictional call. Yep.
The Chronic does it again. The Chronic, another crown champion. Bernie Coltman is rolling over in his grave. If he's in his grave, I guess he is. Did we ever confirm or get any kind of affirmation that Lenny had? Bernie had checked out.
I read something about it. He had a tragic ending. While hang gliding, he was shot down. They thought he was a weather balloon.
Gergs, you have what? You gave out your parlay.
Yeah. Well, we got some golf today. We got a nice group coming out for golf. Monday, I'll be at Grand Oaks for autism. The weekend, it looks like they might be off the turf Friday and Saturday, but we may be at a local plant. So best to you guys in the meantime.
Let me leave you with this. Another Wakuso.
We love you, Gergs. We'll see you.
We love you, Gurggles. Dave Gurggles Gergely. All right, we're sticking around, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what we're doing, Lubie? We're sticking around?
Supposed to
All
be.
right, let's throw a couple of spots in there, and then we'll come back. Stick around. It should be a hoot if we end up
What happens?
connecting with Brandon Lang.
Yes.
Which it's always a somewhat dicey proposition. I believe he's still residing in Vegas.
He's in Vegas. So that's why,
It's 6 a.m. out there.
It's a lot. Sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he doesn't. So we'll see.
Somewhat questionable, yeah. All right, coming back with more in a moment. We think we'll at least come back and say goodbye, but we're going to try and feature Brandon Lang on the program in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:56.
Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Are we all in stable but critical condition? Is that the way all life is, Lubie? In a general, more figurative sense? Would you say you're in stable but critical condition? I believe you are right now.
Probably.
On the threshold of getting married in the early portion of 2021. Don't you think it's a little soon, kid? You barely notice women. What are you doing?
We've been together 4 years.
Well, I guess you know enough.
How long do you want her to put up with me?
Is it you that's pushing for this?
It's equal. We're both very happy and in love. It's very gross.
Oh, my God. All right. It's a foreign concept. You have to understand where I'm coming from. 0 for 2 with a walk. And, right now I think I got a 3-2 count in marriage number 3. But, and only because of the benefit of a really poor call on a ball that was clearly right down the middle of the plate. One of those Angel Hernandez calls. Get out of here.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz. We're going to try and connect here with Brandon Lang in the next few minutes on the program. If not, we're going to stick around for at least a short period of time as we celebrate all of this March Madness. See, I like it. I don't mind. I don't begrudge people becoming fans. We were talking about this at the top of the program here.
That's what I do.
And I mean, it's okay with me. I'm pretty much the same way, right? I mean, would you ever consider at any other time during the year just saying, hey, I'm going to start watching college basketball at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm going to catch portions of, what would it be, 16 different games.
Yes.
All the way through like 2 in the fucking morning. And you would actually, at any time during the season, aside from today, would you ever even consider that for a moment?
I don't know if you can. Like, look, football, you can. Football now, it's college football is aired on like 6 to 10 channels. So I actually will watch, as long as my wife doesn't make plans for us, I will watch college football from 12 to usually 12. College basketball, I don't know if it works like that. Like, I don't know if they air that much college basketball regular season. Like, I know they have games, and I know you can find games.
It seems like if you peruse the various networks, look, you can find 500 different college basketball games on.
Okay, I don't know. I know that
on any given day. I don't know if you can find it, noon all the way. Yeah, I think you could, right, on a Saturday.
I don't know if it's as pronounced as college football, but this time of the year it is. This time of the year, we all know where True TV is. We all know
TV. Yeah, I mean that would be a real search button for me. I did find those games on True TV.
Yep. It takes you about 10 minutes every year. You're like, where the fuck?
Well, because when originally, like not last night, but the night before, the Tuesday games, I had a curiosity about them because the professor had that theory about Virginia.
Yep.
So I naturally wanted to see, at what level of sharpness the professor's game was at. Has he sharpened his pencil to the point where he's going to have one of those days where he just goes like 9-1 or something like that?
Yep.
Very possible, because as we've been saying, this is where these kind of people that follow this should have a big edge. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're going to be overwhelmingly successful necessarily, because all kinds of fucked up things happen.
Yes.
In the first day of the tournament. I mean, literally, if you imagine the poor sucker, and what you talk about a bridge jumper, right? Mayo was talking about walking across the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, geez, Mike, I hope you never considered jumping. Although the way he's been eating.
It wouldn't be easy.
You say you didn't eat much on that afternoon show yesterday, but because, he went to Tom Tanazzini, of all things.
Oh, that where he went? Because I know he was
I believe so. I thought that was a menu from Tom's Louisiana Kitchen.
He went across. There's a new place in that Meisner area.
Oh, that's possible.
And his meter was till like 7. So I think he and Eddie. Eddie had talked about it. He's been there with his wife, so he went to go see it himself. So I think that's where I don't think it was Tom's Kitchen. So he probably didn't go that crazy food wise. Like, he just showed the menu and it was good. The food was good. We were just celebrating happy hour. and they brought out happy hour items, but it wasn't
Now,
like
that was the name of this joint?
Corvina.
Carvina. Okay, and where was it?
It's in Meisner. I think that's Meisner.
Oh,
I don't
Meisner,
know.
okay.
It's off of Plaza Real. And I think it's Meisner.
All right.
It's nice. It's a nice fish place, but they do a nice happy hour. So they brought a happy hour items, and it was he and I. And we were talking with Eddie, the owner, and
The guy Eddie's a great guy, man. He seems like a real dedicated restaurateur.
And the chef had been in the business for like 40 years. So we were just talking, and he had been around like San Diego, Dallas, DC, now here. So we talked with him. So we really didn't eat that much. Like Mayo was actually in the where he's talking a lot, not eating mode. So
Mayo went in here. Mia Rosebud was the name of the place.
Okay.
I immediately, an alarm went off. I had legitimate concerns because I was thinking, geez, I thought what I saw of the show yesterday was Mayo kind of stuffing himself while you were doing some kind of wild demonstrative activity there, standing up and pouring soup or whatever. And Mayo was, kind of in my role where we just sit off on a corner and eat. So then for him to go out like immediately after and have another big meal, especially coming off, I mean, I have visions of that knish just sitting in his stomach. The one that he sent us the picture of, Louie, from whatever that was, 2nd Street Deli.
Yeah.
Did you see the size of that fucking thing? It looked like a pumpkin that you would carve.
It was circular, but it was still as wide as the ones you get at Graham. Yeah, it was really big. It was really big.
Huge. It was humongous. So, I mean, I started, I actually have on my walk of life, when my thoughts briefly turned to what am I doing the rest of the day? And I'm thinking, okay, well, we're going to do the Mayo Lunchbox show. I've developed legitimate concerns for Michael.
No, at least I don't know what he did the rest of the day because that's the thing is he'll go eat at what's it called and then eat again.
Yeah.
But at the show, actually, most of the food that they brought was left. He tried everything because we had the chef there, but he didn't. What you saw, they had these. They called it like a taquito, but it was like a mini taco and it was tiny. It was tuna with avocado.
No, it wasn't like a repeat of the bloodbath, so to speak.
It wasn't Roadhouse. It was a
small. He incurred at Roadhouse, where after eating 100 meals, he ended up eating a giant cheeseburger.
No, he did not do that. He tried everything with a little bite. He didn't go crazy. The other place he may have, because it's Chicago Italian, which I don't even know what that means, but that just sounds fucking great.
Yeah.
So he may have gone crazy there. I can't speak for that place, but at Corvina, he actually was very understated and very well-mannered. I'll give him
somewhat surprising. Yeah,
yes,
I would say.
Yeah. Eddie was the one that was like, do it. He's like, you want me to do it? I don't want it. The chef was there. He's like, you can finish that. Don't be a whatever. So he ate the whole fucking thing.
Remember when like Emeril Lagasse used to just throw like a little salt, not even a lot, like a pinch of salt into some big vat of stew that he was making. And he would go, bam,
bam. Yep.
And then he would get a standing ovation for that. Right? Guy throws some fucking salt into a big pot of stew and gets a standing ovation. But it was a signature thing. Bam.
Yes.
And Mayo has to come to realize, I don't know if he's realized it yet. If they ban TikTok, it's going to hurt the show, is it not? Because are you not putting these big bites up on TikTok?
Which put stuff up every day, and they usually caps off with a big bite. As long as he does it, I don't.
They're Chestnut-esque. I mean, you can't even envision Joey Chestnut slobbering down a burger like that. Lubie, can you? I mean, I understand. I mean, Mayo blew it when he was in the hot dog competition, or he tried to. What did we have? An over/under of 7.5 hook, and he made like 3.
He did 7, and he ate 5. And it took him the whole fucking show to eat 5.
But he was in that, quasi pseudo-intellectual mode. Have a certain type of bread. Well, a hot dog's only good with this kind of bread. Like, happened to be like the most filling bread, the kind of bread that you would eat if you were on one of those diets where you only ate like bread.
Yeah, it was a potato bun. It's very heavy.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
That was a mistake. I mean, a strategic blunder, the likes of which you would expect Mike McDaniel to make late in a ball game.
So I'm
with
wrong.
Your season on the line.
He ate a lot there. What he's saying is more than what Shirley and I would eat if we went together as human beings to a meal. So you're right. He has a problem.
No, I believe there's,
You got two appetizers and then a meal.
There's a reason for legitimate concern.
That's literally what we got at the Catherine Friday for our anniversary.
Yes.
We got 2 appetizers and 1 meal.
I go out on these lunchbox shows, and I can't eat again the rest of the day. If I do, I know it's going to be a disaster, a catastrophe when I step on the scale in the morning. which I try to keep track of every day at this point because
Yeah.
I don't know. Unlike Mayo, I don't want to fail on this determination. Maybe at some point in time, Louis, to get back under a deuce. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's doable. I mean,
How great would that be?
Lose weight. I mean, you're eating very healthy, so
I don't know about that so much, but
I don't know what you do off the show, but on the shows you eat very.
I try to stick with it. Well, I don't eat much after that. That's why I'm always amazed when we get the pictures from the Mayo food bloodbath that anybody could eat that much after eating like we do in the afternoon. It's insane when you think about it. All right. So anybody who had the over on that, what was it? 200 he was going to be? Mayo? 200 he was going to be by his birthday?
It's
which
supposed
is
to be under 200 pounds was the
by
goal.
June?
Yes.
That's
not happening, yeah.
No, that doesn't look good. If he got close, it would be amazing. All right, speaking of over-unders, this is great because this is a man of great distinction, and I would imagine that he is absolutely salivating to get to the sports book and start pounding away with his wagers, or however he's going to send this money in on the NCAA tournament, which tips off today at 12:15. First game on the slate. We've had a couple of wise guys weigh in, and they've been pretty good so far. But nobody of the magnitude of this gentleman who really controls the gambling world and sets the pace for virtually everybody. The great Brandon Lang joins us here on the show. Brandon, how are you, my friend?
What's up? What's up, boys in South Florida?
Good morning, great one. How are you?
We're doing well. Do you speak any Japanese by any chance? I know you're very worldly. Could you, I mean, if I said to you, Brandon Lang, Anada Wakosa. Oh, no, I blew it. Anada Wakuso. Anada Wakuso. What would you think I was saying?
I have no utter idea whatsoever.
According to my research, that is the way you would tell somebody you're fucked in Japanese, which is what that Japanese interpreter. I mean, do you believe this story? The guy wires the money out of Itani's account to some schmuck bookmaker that's under investigation by the FBI for some other deal. And yeah,
hold on. I'll break the story right here.
Okay.
If you're buying that story, be my guest.
Okay.
You say it was Shohei all along? It was Barzini all along?
Yeah,
I think it was.
let me ask you a question.
Interesting.
Do you think that little interpreter? Listen. I know what happened.
Yeah.
I played golf with Bauer. I know what happened.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it on air because the trial and everything. But let's just throw this out there. Bauer gets arrested. They seize all his Bitcoin. They raided his house. They took everything from him. He's got a wife, 5 sons, lives in Orange County. I'm just going to throw this out there so you guys can wrap your arms around it and be like, okay, this makes sense. And they go on his phone. And anything back and forth is in Japanese. So the feds look and say, well, what is this? And he cuts a deal. Now, who's the face of Major League Baseball right now?
Yeah, it's Ohtani.
Ohtani.
Yeah, by
Yes.
Number one face in baseball.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take him away from baseball. Oh boy. So who's the fall guy here? Well, Ohtani doesn't speak English. Can't be him. He can communicate with the bookmaker.
Yeah.
Gotta be the interpreter. Gotta be. And you're going to think Ohtani's so stupid that he doesn't realize that money is missing?
That's
So now they're
the
gonna
thing that was
conjure up-
So this guy may as well have been Lee Harvey Oswald
They're
or
gonna
something.
come. I guarantee you it's a lot more than 4 million. I know what the exact number is.
Wow.
I have
really?
it from the most reliable source on the face of the planet Earth. They had to concoct this story. The interpreter is the fall guy. You watch. The interpreter, you just watch this unfold. There is nothing that's going to happen to the interpreter. He's going to be shipped back to Japan. You will never hear about him again. You will never see him again. He will ride off into the sunset. He's the fall guy. He's being very well taken care of. Right off into the sunset. So if you think it was him, Go ahead and buy that
So
bridge.
Tourney has a
There's that new
massive
bridge
gambling
they're
problem.
building.
So Tourney's a
Otani is sicker than anybody that we know, is what you're saying, Brandon
Do
Lang?
what I'm saying
He
to you
makes
is,
Phil Mickelson look like a child when it comes to this stuff.
do you really think just you're in the gambling world. We're in the
Yes.
gambling world.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
Do you really think a little interpreter has the ball stack? Listen, people of Asian descent are timid to begin with. That's not fair. That's not racist.
No,
Their culture is a timid culture. They're you've been around them. I've been around them.
Yeah.
There's
Very reserved,
Very
yes.
few Asian people you'll meet. Reserved is the word. There's very rarely going to meet an Asian who's violent, who's gonna get in an altercation with you. First of all, they're all 5'2" to begin with. So basically,
Now, that might have been on the racist
never going to
side,
be.
yes.
Okay, well, you know what? It is what it is. Especially when you marry a 5'4" Filipino who basically ruins your life. I'm allowed, by the way.
All right. There are scars.
So if you think he had the cojones,
Yeah.
let's make sure we're clear on this.
Yeah.
That takes some cojones when you're 5'2" and Otani's 6'4".
Yes.
It takes some cojones from him to. There's no way if you buy that little interpreter has a ball stack to do that.
Imagine, yeah.
Think about it, guys.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make
Think
any
about
sense.
it.
Yeah.
Robbing Otani, probably not the smartest move anyway. Yes. No matter how sick of a gambler this guy was.
I'm just telling you.
He made Pete Rose look like a lightweight. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to just tell you this. It's a lot more than $4 million.
Holy shit.
This is gonna blow you away.
Okay.
I know for a fact, 100% fact. People can say Lang's full of shit. Okay, fine. Why do I know so much about this? Okay, what do I know about Orange County? He's living $1 million in Bitcoin. Okay, it's a lot more than $4 million. And it's less than 25.
Jesus.
So there you go. And it was only soccer, not any other sport. They made the interpreter say it was other stuff, but it was only soccer. And it was it's a lot more than 4 million, and it's less than 25. There
and
you
of course, no baseball. That's pretty
makes a lot
crazy.
of sense.
The whole story, but it makes perfect sense. It really does. They can't put this on Otani. It would look bad. But you don't have a BrandonLang.com soccer posting every day. I mean, you couldn't help this guy out. I mean, that's got to be a lot of losers.
I met Bauer years ago and played golf with him years ago. So I know who he is. But just recently, probably one of my top 4 best friends played golf with him within 3 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And got it right from the horse's mouth. Exactly. And he's the one that called me and said, "Bro, are you ready for this?" What? I just played golf with Bauer. No way. I go, I know who he is. He's massive bookie. Yes. And he goes, "You're never going to believe this." What? And then he broke it to me exactly what it is.
Wow.
100% what it is.
Jesus.
And then Chris said to me, he said, "It's going to break, and I don't know how they're going to cover it up." That's it. He didn't
Seems like this would come under a lot of scrutiny.
Well, how do you get away with that? It's his account.
Well, listen, here's how you get away with it. He doesn't speak English, so you can't prove it. Everything was communicated in Japanese.
Somebody should yell at Otani, "Anana Wakuso."
He can play.
You're fucked.
He can play. So he can play dumb, and he can get away with it.
Wow.
And it's the perfect fall guy. It makes sense. Everybody bought it. That's the truth. That's the absolute truth. Everybody bought it. I don't speak English. How am I going to gamble with a bookie when I don't speak English? My interpreter speaks English. He's the one that communicated with the bookie, not me. I had no communication with the bookie. I didn't even know any bookie. It's the perfect story to sell. But if you think this 5'3" interpreter is going to steal $4 million
Japanese midget, huh?
gamble, his buddy's money, and you want to buy that, something's rotten in Denmark, boys. That's it. That's your little story from B. Lang, and rock and roll.
Sounds good, my friend. Excellent and great insight, of course, because you're wondering. I mean, you would have to think there'd be more follow up than just accepting this. Like it was like Peter Gammons when he asked A-Rod about using steroids, and A-Rod looks at him and says, "No, I never did." And Peter goes, "Okay, what about spring training?" And you're like, "What? You're going to let that stand without any kind of follow up?" You would think somebody would look into this because it does seem entirely.
I was down
logical.
I was down in Costa Rica for my birthday over February 28th. We're standing outside to catch our bus to Nazaro, which is where we went, and A-Rod walks out, and the rumor was he's down going to rehab.
Oh yeah, wow.
That was the rumor. So I don't know what he's rehab for, but
probably to try and come up with something interesting to say on one of those Fox pregame shows.
Yeah, he's such a dick. He really is. He's just a dick. So he's going to be
get the good smile. Well, we don't see the fascination with him. We'd much rather see you up there analyzing the games before they get started. All right, Brandon. Speaking of analyzing games before they get started, 12:15. It's 9:15. Are you in Vegas? At 9:15, everybody's going to be packing the sports books.
I am in Vegas early, 12:40 Eastern. I like Duquesne plus 9.5 over BYU.
Okay.
Next game I like is Oregon minus the 1.5 over South Carolina. The next game I like is McNeese State plus the 6.5 over Gonzaga. And I like NC State plus the 4.5 over Texas Tech. And I believe if Kansas isn't careful, Sanford's going to give them fits plus the 6.5. So doggy. Only favorites Oregon minus 1.5. Dog is Sanford, NC State, Duquesne. There you go, boys. That's Thursday.
Nice.
Let's rock and roll to Friday. Friday, I like UAB plus 7.5 over San Diego State. Let's continue on. New Mexico over Clemson. New Mexico's legit, boys. Keep an eye on them. They got 3 guards that can absolutely go, including Jamel Mashburn Jr. Plus, they got a couple of bigs that can go too. So I just keep an eye on New Mexico. They could be that 11 seed that crashes the Sweet 16. Like James Madison plus the 5.5 over Wisconsin. Earlier this year, James Madison went into Michigan State and won outright. And I know Izzo and the boys were struggling a bit. Utah State plus 4.5 over TCU. I think they take them down to the wire as well. So there you go, boys. That's
nice 4-pack. Our guys that we follow here and have on the show frequently are in love with New Mexico also.
Yes.
That was really one of their standout plays. And then what's your thought on Drake? Does Drake, the cupcake, have a chance?
I do like Drake. They're going to get slaughtered by Iowa State in the next round. But I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Dinwiddie, not Dinwiddie. What's his name? The senior, their stud, averages 21 a game. Oh my God.
Yeah, don't look for us for help.
You guys, I no, you guys wouldn't know the name of that. No, right there. He torched Indiana State in their conference championship game. They couldn't stop him. And kid can flat out play. Here we go. DeVries. Averages 21 a game. He's a beast.
Is he the coach's son?
That I don't know. I think you're going back to at 27 against Indiana State, 29 against Bradley, 39 against Illinois.
Yeah, he's
Chicago.
the one that people are scared of.
Tucker DeVry. He's again in this tournament. The funny thing about this tournament, teams that are successful are teams that have a go-to guy who can get you a bucket on his own.
Yep.
So when teams are bogged down, you can dump it to him, and he can go one-on-one, and he can get you buckets. And he's that guy. You watch these games and these offenses, and unless you're getting something in transition, it's like watching, paint dry. The offenses is just grinding it out. We haven't seen a player yet. The kid for Montana State, who had 6 threes. He was fun to watch. And then conversely, Grambling going into the hole. But there's not been in the first 2 games. Colorado, the Colorado Boise game was a low-scoring, grinded-out game. So, the 2 games we've had so far, we haven't really seen a player take over like a Steph Curry who took Davidson to the Elite Eight and almost beat Kansas to go to the Final Four. DeVry is that guy. He's the guy that could get Drake to the Sweet 16. Problem is they're facing Iowa State. And when you can hold Houston and beat Houston by 29, too bad. Iowa State got screwed. They really did. Because if they're in any other bracket, they're probably going to the Final Four. But I don't know if Iowa State can beat UConn. Yeah. And that's what sucks because that they got shafted. Iowa State got shafted. You beat a number 1 seed. And this is another thing real quick. You beat a number 1 seed by 29 points. You should not take that team and put them in the bracket with the number 1 overall seed. Yep. The committee these guys are fucking clueless.
Well, and that's the bracket with Auburn. Like, that bracket's fucking stupid. Like, Auburn is in that bracket, San Diego State's in that bracket. Like, come on. Like, that's just a dumbass. I think it's a dumbass bracket.
Where's Joe Lunardi when you need him?
You literally put Virginia in. You go on the road and lose by 30 to Virginia Tech. The eye test will tell you Virginia didn't deserve to be in. And yes, Seton Hall came out lethargic last night and beat St. Joe's in overtime by 3. But you beat, this is my stance. If you get double-digit wins in conference play and you beat the number 1 overall seed by 15 points, you're in the tourney. Yeah. Because that means you can get hot and you can make a run if you beat the number 1 overall seed by 15 points. And you have 5 senior starters. Seton Hall got fisted. They got fucked. They got absolutely.
And not a Wakuso.
Yeah. The committee took Shaheen Holloway and sent him over and said, this is going to hurt. This is really going to hurt. So we're not going to use any lube either. None. We're just going to hurt you really, really bad. So
they were spanking him.
Relay this to your team. Yep. And it's sad because that team could have made a run. Yeah, they lost by 20 to St. John's. And listen, you can make an argument that St. John's should have gone in as well.
Fuck too, yeah.
So the Big East,
most people thought they were.
The Big East to have 3 teams in that conference of teams that won over 20 games is mind blowing to me. That all you have is Creighton, Marquette, and UConn. That's unreal to me. Every year they stick in Big Ten teams. Every year they stick in. It's unreal. It just is.
Well, it was good for the bettors, though, because our guys also loved the fact that Virginia had no business being in the tournament, and they basically shellacked their bookmakers on the opening night of the tournament in the first game. Brandon, always a pleasure, my friend. Best of luck. They say it's the most festive day to be in Las Vegas. I mean, right up there with any of the biggies. First day of the NCAA tournament especially. So I would imagine you'll be traveling around. Various public appearances, and thanks so much for being with us. Always a pleasure, my friend. Great stuff on Ohtani, by the way.
And by the way, I just want to say, the first time I've ever done this show that I didn't make one transgender.
Yes, an amazing path to a new Brandon Lang.
For you.
Yes,
not one. So if you happen to be traveling out there in South Beach and you see one,
yeah,
you're training.
All you see is cops. It'd have to be transgender cops. They've got nothing but military. See you later. Okay. Brandon Lang, ladies and gentlemen. That was worth it. Yeah.
But that makes a lot more. Look,
it does make more sense.
Because that's the thing is, it's first of all, why would he have access to Ohtani's account? That was the part that when Andy was saying that, I'm like, look, people are arrogant and they're lazy. Fine. But like, why would he? Being the interpreter doesn't give you any access to someone's account. Like, I don't understand. I never.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he was doing some personal management for him. It's possible, right? Taking care of some of his details.
He's fucking Ohtani. He should have real deal business people and real deal money managers. Like, come on.
It's tough. I mean, no matter how much money you have, it's tough not to notice like $5 million being
$5 million is a fucking lot.
Yes. It's one thing the guy, pull like 20,000 out of petty cash or something, and it somehow disappeared. And Otani said, I thought I had money in the drawer. No, Shohei, you spent that. I would think, too, that Shohei Otani, I mean, aren't the Japanese famously, very meticulous about everything that they do?
They are, but they also are known.
But they're also sick, degenerate gamblers.
They're also known to be massive gamblers. So that's
massive,
the thing and he knows he has tons of money, and he knows he has more coming and more coming and more.
25 million. That makes some sense.
It's like not. It probably was 15 to 20. Brandon's saying it's over 4, less than 25. It's probably. It's weird to think because we don't know Otani at all.
Imagine the shock the O'Malleys have to be rolling over in their graves, right?
They got
nothing to do with the team anymore. But these people have just shelled out $700 million. What if Pete Rose could be banned from baseball for life? Now he wasn't betting on baseball, see, so that's the other thing. So I don't know what level of what level of compliance he would be out of whack with there in terms of betting policies, Major League Baseball.
You've said it.
Would you not be allowed to bet on other sports?
In this day and age, you would think they would.
Now he's doing it illegally. That was the problem.
In this day and age, you would think they would shift the rules, but have they? Baseball is always pretty slow to things. The rules were always very. Look, I know it was you don't bet on baseball, but I think it's you just don't gamble, right? Isn't that the rule that you can't?
Well, I would imagine they don't, approve of and condone betting with an illegal bookmaking ring. That was under investigation from the FBI, and it certainly lends itself to a lot of, unfortunate assertions that you could make about whether the game's on the level or not, right?
That's the thing. Is look, he has enough money he can pay off his debts, but again, rich people usually are cheap as fuck. So just because he can pay off his debts, he's willing to pay off his debts. So
somebody says, "Hey, listen, I tell you what, you're going to lose 2 of these games to the Cubs." That's all we ask of you, Shohei, and we'll forget about the $25 million.
Exactly, $20 million is still a lot of fucking. Even if you're making 20, or what is he making? 50? I don't know, whatever ludicrous number he's making a year. It still's a lot of money.
What did he sign? 10 years, 700, right?
Look, but the deal before still was a ton of money. Like he didn't come over for nothing. So he had the money, but that doesn't mean he wants to spend it.
Nobody wants to lose money. Who wants to lose $25 fucking million, Lubie? Gambling, of all things.
That's crazy.
You're gambling again?
Exactly.
It seemed like, there are a lot of different, I'm sure there'll be other stories coming out after this. I can't imagine they just say, hey, it was the interpreter all along.
Well, that's the thing is if Brandon Link can come up with this, why would other people not? And not that Brandon Link's
that was my thought was, who is this interpreter? This guy's betting $5 million? What kind of sick fuck is this guy?
Well, that's the thing is who has
how much could he be getting paid by Otani if he's making $300,000, let's say, just to follow Otani around? I mean, is he betting $5 million on soccer games? Got to be kidding me.
Well, who wants to risk that gig? Like that's got to be a fucking great gig.
Imagine, right? I mean, look how you're traveling around first class everywhere you go. It's like being a chauffeur for some famous guy, and
you got to be there. Like
they're bringing you out pheasant under glass while you're waiting in the parking lot in the car. All right, we got to get out of here. That was fun. Some interesting stuff. You got some games from Brandon Lang there. He likes Duquesne, Oregon, McNeese, and NC State.
9 games.
Gave us 8 games,
today and 4 games tomorrow.
UAB, New Mexico. Everybody loves New Mexico.
Yes.
If that game goes down, that's going to be a fake out for a lot of people. James Madison and also Utah State. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It was a lot of fun being with you. We'll be at Even Keel Fish Shack later on, the Mike Mayo Lunchbox Show. Always one of our favorite stops. I don't know, Lubie. You may have to request the fish and chips today.
I've already started. It's funny. It's one of the places that I start thinking about the menu like the day before.
That is so good.
It's really fucking good.
There's nothing I've ever had there that I didn't enjoy immensely. But
that's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, the swordfish, Brad and Dave, man, they do a great job. And I have a place on Las Olas as well.
Yeah.
I'd be less inclined to go there because I rarely even think about going to Las Olas.
Well, this one you can walk to if you really want to.
I love it, yeah. I mean, this is down the street. Well, what I'm digging about Even Keel Fish Shack is that every time I go by, and I would say probably, I don't know, at least 4 days a week I go by it at some time. And lately, especially in the evening, it's been packed.
Yep.
People are really digging it, which is nice to see because it's a sort of different concept than you have on that street there, which is what makes it unique. And that's why all of these guys get along with each other because they're all very different. And Even Keel Fish Shack does a whole different kind of vibe and feel to it, but the food is absolutely outstanding. So looking forward to being there. We'll be there today, 1 o'clock, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. And we'll see. And now Mayo is claiming that he went very light last night.
He got different dishes, but he pulled a me where he got it with his paramour in mind. Which, look, Val supposedly spent over $1,000 at that one fucking lunch.
Oh, yeah. He's going to have to take her out to the next 1,000 dinners. Yeah.
Knows the shit out of her.
I mean, I'm glad he's going to this doctor's appointment. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you tend not to believe it anyway. I mean, when you're reluctant to get on the scale at the doctor's office, too, and they give you the look like, what, really? 235? And you're thinking, you know what? I was a little lighter yesterday. I don't know. My scale must be off. All right. We'll see you guys later on. And then tomorrow, Degenerate Friday with the professor and maybe more college basketball and, of course, a big board. So lots coming up here on South Florida Live and the Defo Show. You can catch us on Caffeine TV, The Morning Briefing, Caffeine TV, or NoFilter.net.
Yeah,
just Google Caffeine TV, The Morning Briefing, and any number of episodes pop up.
Yep.
Including the latest. So we'll see you then. Thanks so much for being with us. See you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:32.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.